Hello everyone. Welcome to Super Coaching UPSC by Textbook. This is Venkatesh, your faculty for geography. So students, I think island formation is one of a fascinating story, right? I think since our childhood, the moment we see islands, there is always some kind of, for many of us will have some kind of, positive annotations and stories to it. You might heard about the stories like, the beautiful Madagascar movie, right? You might have heard about the Seychelles tribes of the Andaman Nicobar Islands, how it is very fascinating where people are living very, very uniquely and separately from our general lives. You have seen some of the craziest volcanic islands being formed in the Pacific Ocean. You have seen some of the beautiful, wonderful corals which would like to go and enter into the coral scuba diving, right? You all might have also spoken about recently China spreading its muscles in the South China Sea, getting into the activities of, getting into multiple things of as enlarging its tentacles, that is showing its true power or whatever, there is muscle power which you call it as. You are seeing some artificial islands which are created here. So island and their formation, you have a wonderful developments and wonderful stories about that. So when you heard about all these things, stories or news or whatever you call, the first thing should come to your brain. How do you think that islands are formed? What is the reason for their formation? You all know how continents are formed. We have explained to the plate tectonics theory. But how do you think that islands are formed? Right? Let us discuss about that. Right? Am I audible to you, all of you? Yes, Pranjal. Right? Am I audible? Okay, right. So let's see about the thing. When you see about the islands, I think what is an island? Let us have a basic idea of what is an island. An island is, we all know that it is a body of land surrounded by water. So is Australia. Australia is also a body of land surrounded by water. You can see the Pacific Ocean, you can see the Indian Ocean covering all its borders. You can see even, Africa, Indian Ocean, Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea, Atlantic Ocean. It is also covered by oceans. What is the difference between them? That generally any island, it's a body of land, usually which are quite small, not big. There is also an angle of size covering less than half an hectare or to 1 acre. And because of this quite smaller things, uniquely developed, not much of interaction with the world, islands are known for home to world's most unusual and fascinating wildlife. Very, very fascinating wildlife. You'd also saw, I think, when you have watched the movie Life of Pi, you have shown the unique things found in some of the fascinating islands of the Pacific Ocean, right? Didn't you? Right? In fact, because of this isolation, you have some of the most primitive tribes like the Seychelles tribe in our part of the world, Andaman Nicobar group of islands, the Seychelles tribe, where no one is allowed there. No UPSC preparation, nothing there, right? Okay. Okay. So keeping all these things in context, so let us try to understand the first thing. Continental islands. So for example, you see that you all might have seen the beautiful Madagascar movie, right? Madagascar movie. And where is Madagascar? If you see it, Madagascar is located just, east of the African continent. Now, Madagascar is an island. It is an island. How do you think that this island is formed? The first thing, see, look at my observations. As you observe the events across you, didn't you study it from the perspective of a story is what my question is. So if you see that Madagascar Island, these Madagascar Islands are, how do you think that they are formed? They are once connected to the mainland and are now detached from it. Why? Just like how do you think that India was one part of the beautiful, big landmass around the world called Pangaea. Pangaea broke down into Angara land and Gondwana land, that is Laurasia and Gondwana land. And just how South America, Gondwana land got separated into South America, Africa, Antarctica and all. Similarly, smaller islands were also could not keep the pace of the movement and they got separated. So Madagascar is what we'll call it as a continental island which was once connected to the mainland and now detached from it. So these islands are formed because of continental movement or plate movement. That's what I would say. The tail end islands, tail end, North America got separated from, from Eurasia. When North America got separated and is drifting away, the edges, the tail end portions of North America is Greenland, which could not keep pace with the movement of the plate. It got separated, formed into a tiny island. Yes, on the map it looks a huge one, 2 million, but its area is only around 2 million square kilometers. Yes, it's a decent size. We can call it as an island, right? That is about the thing. Then you see, what is the reason for the separation of usually continents? It could be say like a subsidence or some sea level rise or some part of the plate movement. It could be either of these things, right? Subsidence, plate. What is subsidence? Lands were once connected. One of the land got, subsided, and slowly you can see that they got separated. And over a period of time here, slowly some ocean has been developed. So whatever, simply you can understand that certain islands are once connected with the mainland. They are associated with as part of the plate tectonics and various geomorphological forces, they got separated away. That is what we can call it as a continental island. I can give you two examples, Madagascar, Greenland. Is it not Sri Lanka is also the similar example? I can give you even Sri Lanka. Because of that, you have the Adams Bridge, the Ram Setu, where, you can move by, you have the mythological story about it, right? Where you can move via this Ram Setu and all. You can move from all the way from India to Sri Lanka, right? Is it not? All of you, have you got this point? Continental island, right? This is one of the first approach of continental island formation, right? Then volcanic islands. Now, there is nothing like oceanic island as such, but typically they are associated more with the ocean rather than with the continent is what the perspective is. Our islands are formed in the oceans only. We don't find all islands in the center of a continent, no. So, just like we have gave the word called continental island, we are also giving a word called oceanic island meant for formation. How do you think that the volcanic islands of, the beautiful islands of Japan and all these things are formed? It is all because of the volcanism. Let you explain this. Have you heard about this kind of a concept called island arc formation? Have you heard about this? Island arc formation. So, as part of the plate tectonics, when two oceanic plates meet, one of the oceanic plate which is denser will subduct into the ocean. If one of the oceanic plates subducts into the ocean and it is subducting. Subducting means what? One plate going beneath the other. As this plate going beneath the other, we all know that in the interior, is it not this all this region is a zone of magma? The crust would be melted. When it's melted, you all know this another point that the continental crust which you are talking about, this portion, when compared with this portion, is definitely different. The size, the densities are different. So the material which is going into the mantle here, it is very of lighter density when compared with the surrounding medium. What happened to the lighter mediums? It will start rising. So you can see whatever the material which is getting melted here, it is rising. As it rises, it creates a volcano. Now, when you see two big plates, three-dimensional, look at the entire Philippines plate. Look at the entire Sunda plate. All these are in the oceans. When they go beneath the another land, they will create a chain of island arc formations like this. You can see chain of islands, say Sumatra, Java, Borneo, or rather Sumatra, Java, and then all the islands which you see here, Japanese islands, Philippines Islands, Indonesian Islands, all these are product of the island arc formation. Have you got this, Pranjal? Paras Pranjal, have you got this one? Right. Okay. So this is what we'll call it as island arc formation, volcanic islands. So what are these? These are small islands located in the middle of an ocean, no connection with the mainland at all, nothing to do with the mainland. Indonesia, nothing to do with the mainland. They have developed with respect to volcanism. Japan developed with volcanism, formed by eruptions of volcanoes on the ocean floor, and many of these are the topmost cones of volcanoes, or rather I can say island arc formations. Japan, Philippines, right? Japan, Philippines. Then you can talk about Japan, Philippines, Indonesia. All these are island arc formations, right? Then next one, you all might heard about the beautiful corals of the Bali Island. You all wanted to go to the places like Lakshadweep, right? Recently, we had a controversy, right? We wanted to go enter into the beautiful corals, right? We wanted to enjoy the sandy beaches. We wanted to enjoy such places. You see, they are so tiny in nature. They are not very big. Look at the size. Look at the islands. It is in a land of in a what say in the water in the ocean. You do find some narrow, shallow land bodies. This is where, when the land is shallow, this is where you will find the beautiful corals. Once you find the beautiful corals there, around the coral, slowly an island would be developed. Have you ever seen our Lakshadweep Islands? They are very tiny. They are very tiny. Look at this. This is the island of Agati Island, Lakshadweep, where you also have some kind of a runway. Look at the island stretch. Imagine you going into a flight. You are entering into these islands. As you are coming from the high land into this part of the world, I mean rather, as you are coming from the sky and trying to land here, imagine you are a faint-hearted person and you are there on the window seat and you are seeing the landing from your window. You will not see the land as you are trying to land. You can see here, look at the amount of land here. Tiny stretch of land. Let us So, as I am saying that, as you have seen that, the land is very tiny. As you are trying to land, if you are a faint-hearted person, if you see that, it looks like your flight is landing onto the water. They are so tiny. Why? Why they are so tiny? Because corals, they have formed in this region, and the corals have started obstructing the warm whatever the water as part of the movement and all. They are trying to deposit some sand, and slowly around it some kind of a coral island has been created. That is the reason why they are very vulnerable to sea level rise. The story would be ending if this kind of climate change, global warming happens. These things would be completely ending. So that's where these coral islands are so beautiful, so mesmerizing. We wanted to enjoy the white sand beaches. As you can see here, the white sand beach, the beautiful colors, right? Beautiful colors. Why do you think these are very prominent tourists? Because of this beauty. How it is developed? It is because of the nature of the formation there. So these are what we'll call it as the coral islands, right? Okay, islands formation, the corals which are very, very narrow. Let me show you the picture. right? So the coral islands formed in the warm waters, because you will see the corals formed in the only in the tropical part by tiny sea animals called corals, found near the mainland and also in the midst of the oceans. You can give the examples: Lakshadweep, Mauritius, Maldives, all these kind of things. Then what happens is, geographically, if you talk about further, you can also talk about an atoll is a ring-shaped coral reef island surrounding a body of water like a lagoon. So there are some atolls as well which are formed here. That's a different day explanation. As of now, you simply understand that islands can be formed with respect to corals as well, right? Corals are nothing but shallow water bodies. In the shallow water bodies of the oceans, you find the beautiful coral polyps living in symbiotic relationship with the algae, and these things are so tiny. So when you see the structures, they are very, very tiny. You can see here. Imagine this is a big coral which has been developed. Then there is a small lake which would be developed. This is what we call it as a lagoon, right? Lake, lagoons. Let me show you the picture. Okay. Coral island and lagoons. Okay. You see here, you see this one. Okay, this one, you can see this. How do you think that it has been developed? The corals have obstructed it all the way, and slowly a water body is formed. This is what is a lagoon. I think these are the things which you might have seen in the Life of Pi movie, right? Right? These are what we call it as lagoons. Lagoons are what? Water bodies which are, lagoons are water bodies which are very, very smaller in nature, or very near to a big water body, separated by some kind of structures like corals. So lagoon is a smaller water body separated from a main water body. Right. Right. Then as you can see further, you can see this is where you will find the beautiful lagoons. Look at the NGC. They are talking about lagoon. It's a shallow body of water that may have an opening to a larger body of water, but is also protected from it by a sandbar or a coral reef. So maybe I have given an example of coral reefs. That is the beauty, right? So have you ever seen a Bali, what do you say, Lakshadweep Islands? Lakshadweep corals. You see here, look at the landmass. As you are entering from an ocean as well, look at the size of the land. Very, very tiny, no? Why these are tiny? Because of their formation. Had it been a continental island, they were very, very big, like a Sri Lankan thing, right? So yes, you can also find islands, or even you can also find the islands even in the regions of some other things. Okay, you can also find the islands, even the corals, even in the continental islands at the borders, but definitely certain islands are exclusively corals. When you go to Maldives, when you go to Lakshadweep tomorrow, with the infrastructure being developed in Lakshadweep as of now, you would see that you go to a restaurant, you will go to your hotel on a coral island. You will see that from your room itself, you can see the the fishes and all going underneath you, right? That is how we will be constructing the glass-based houses which you will be having. All such kind of infrastructure would be developed. That is what would be attracting the masses there. So that is about the Lakshadweep, and then you find the dangerous or the most primitive, in whichever direction you see, the Sentinelese tribe, Andaman's isolated tribe. When you see these islands, usually when either they are formed with volcanism or by corals and all, because they are so separated from the mainland, they developed their unique systems. And there are certain animals which are very, very fascinating and developed only in this part. Yes, Australia is a big island, so that turned into a continent, right? But if you see Australia, kangaroos. Why do you think that kangaroos are found only in Australia? because they got separated from the Pangea continental drift long back ago, there was not much connection with respect to other parts of the world. Unique animals have developed in that part of the world. That is the reason. Similarly, about any other place. Similarly, the tribes also develop very, very uniquely, primitively, which they don't allow with any kind of population. The Sentinelese tribe, they don't allow anyone entering into them because of their isolation. That is the beautiful. Now you see Sentinelese, I would say these are a mix of, as part of the plate tectonic movement, when Himalayas were formed, Andaman Nicobar Islands were an extension of the Himalayan formation in the ocean. We consider them islands, but geologically they have been developed with respect to the Himalayan upliftment only. Certain islands you do find volcanoes like, like Barren Island of India, Volcanic Island, but otherwise they are extensions of Andaman and Nicobar. Andaman and Nicobar are extensions of Himalayan formation. So because it is formed in the oceans, you can see here, this is the Andaman Islands. This is where you will find the Myanmar, okay, the Purvachal ranges, and then the Purvachal, the eastern Himalayas. These are nothing but extensions of Himalayas. The extensions of Himalayas is what is the Andaman. So it's a mix of this plus the volcanic formations. And because they are developed in the regions of, very, very tropical part of the world, you also have seen corals here, but they are not coral islands as such. Look at the thing. Corals did not develop into islands. Along the islands, corals have developed. Once again, there is a confusion. Lakshadweep, corals have developed, that turned into an island. Here, islands have developed because of other reasons, and around it slowly corals have developed. There is a difference. That is the difference you need to understand between Andaman and Lakshadweep. Then as you move further, yes, Shubham Ranjan, right, you got this point, right, good. Then as you move further, the another kind of thing, barrier island. Often when the oceans are, when you see that oceanic waves are moving, they also deposit the sand and all. Imagine there is something like a mainland. Imagine this is the mainland, okay, this is an ocean, and then suddenly you find some, you can see this is an ocean. Now, because of certain variety of reasons and all, there would be some deposits of sand which would be created here, and around it there will be water body. You here, look at the background, there is an island here, there is a continent here, you can see the continent continuity, land here, this is the ocean, you can see the water body is also entering, but you can see a big island here. How do you think that this island has been developed? Because the sand has deposited some amounts of, that because of the depositions of the sea wave, the sand has deposited decently here, that turned into an island, and luckily here you don't find big waves which are traveling, which are encroaching into the land, and because it's a pleasant water, shallow water and all these kind of things, it led to a decent kind of a structure, and look at this kind of an island. Slowly the buildings have also been constructed and they are very living there. There would be vulnerable to sea level rise in the future, definitely, but definitely as of now they are having a beautiful structure. These are what we'll call it as barrier islands, barrier islands. Then as you move further, you can see here, this is the thing, this is the main ocean, you can see the ocean, you can see the wash over, the sand is moving. Because of that, slowly they will be depositing some kind of a sand, and that can turn into a barrier island. Sandbar, spits and all these kind of things. Then comes the last islands. Until now, the beauty of geomorphology as shown with respect to the plate tectonics in terms of the continental islands or the volcanic islands through the island arc formations, the wonderful corals and all, you find a variety of islands which are formed naturally by nature. Nature through its forces, volcanism, continental plate movement, or else through, even the barrier islands, everything is formed by nature. But there are certain things which we use these concepts of deposition and we artificially develop them. Say Dubai, because they have so much amount of oil and they wanted to run civilization to the next level by promoting tourism. There is a Palm Island concept. There is a world map project concept. That means if you are entering into the Dubai's airport, as you enter from the ocean, as you see in the ocean, there would be a world map island which would be created. Yes, there were some attempts, there were some failures. Certain things have succeeded, certain things have failed. But whatever, they are trying to deposit certain amount of sand into the ocean and slowly they are trying to resurrect, create an island. You can see this is the thing. How do you think that nature can develop this? No. They have tried to create artificially by controlling the flow of the water and also the amount of deposition of the sand. Certain projects, they have failed, but they are doing it. They are trying to promote what? Tourism. Say UAE, Dubai and all. But the same artificial islands in South China Sea, China is trying to spread to develop these artificial islands, for exclusive economic zone. You all know, once if this is the mainland and then there is an island which is created, from there the exclusive economic zone begins. So necessarily they would be increasing their extent of exclusive economic zone. Whatever, they are trying to create some kind of artificial islands. Yes, all are vulnerable to sea level rise, but this is the beauty of the nature, beauty of formation of islands formation all across the world. If you want the PDF file of this, you can get into my Telegram channel. You can get that. You can get this PDF file as well there. And any further doubts you have about this session and all, about this topic and all, we'll have a meet, Google Meet, where you can interact with me, direct interaction with me. Today, I'll be preparing the schedule for that. We can have a conversation. I would be happier to resolve your doubts. Okay, then all of you, thank you. Have a good time. Until we meet next time, keep learning, keep understanding about the facets of geography so that your knowledge is improving. Happy learnings to all of you. Thank you.